the support for NASA has always been great when they make these great accomplishments, like with the Hubble telescope finding new discoveries at the edge of the universe, or the Galileo probe that went into Jupiter. We had thousands of people at events all over the world watching the results of these spacecraft. And of course now, with this new discovery making every newspaper and every television station around the world, the interest is clearly there for this kind of exploration.
Let me note that NASA officials haven't yet formally asked for any more money to support further exploration of Mars, but there's little doubt that such a request would be forthcoming. Estimates made in the 80s of a 2-year mission to Mars pegged the cost at $400 billion. Are you telling us it's worth that, Mr. Friedman?
No, I'm not. In fact, I think that was one of the problems with that previous idea. It doesn't have to cost $400 billion of money now to explore Mars. In fact, NASA's doing a whole lot now for a lot less money. And we're talking about missions that are costing hundreds of millions of dollars for robotic exploration that are very cost effective and bring back these kinds of exciting results.
Let me bring in
Future human missions will cost a little more.
Understood.
And of course, that will come later.
Let me bring in a second guest. Ralph DeGennaro is the executive director of a watchdog group known as Taxpayers for Common Sense. Good morning.
Good morning.
You don't like this idea of more money for exploration of Mars. How come?
We think that these are very tentative and preliminary scientific findings that are being overhyped in an attempt to drive up taxpayer spending on the NASA budget.
You telling us that this great discovery last week is something that there may be a little more fiction than fact here?
Yeah, this is the space spin doctors trying to hype some very tentative findings in order to get more money. At Taxpayers for Common Sense, we say it's an equation. If you want to spend more money on Mars, you've got to spend less money on something else. So we say you should kill the NASA space station, which is a boondoggle which has no scientific merit. We think you should kill the NASA program to put Russian monkeys in space, which has no scientific merit. We could save billions of dollars, and if we want to spend a little more money for Mars, we'd have it, but we could also pay for deficit reduction.
NASA Administrator Dan Golden says that science, not money, should dictate whether or not we further explore Mars. What's wrong with that game plan?
Well, NASA, just like everybody else, has to set priorities. Americans in their lives have to make hard choices, and NASA has to do the same. If this is really such a big deal, this new discovery, then why can't we make it a top priority and cut some of the things that are low priorities, like the space station and the space monkey program?
Let's ask Mr. Friedman. Mr. Friedman, what's wrong with that? Why not? Why shouldn't we just tell NASA prioritize here?
Well, we should tell NASA to prioritize, and they have. You know, the total NASA budget is less than the cost of a movie out of every $1,000 of tax money you spend. It's 0.7% of the federal budget. We're not talking big dollars. Those priorities have been made, and in fact, NASA has suffered enormous cuts, 10% a year for the last several years, and now they're being proposed to suffer another 25% over the next 4 years. That's too large.
That's ridiculous. The figures are based on some baseline which assumed huge increases in the NASA budget and never were real. The truth
is, that's not correct.
The NASA budget is $14 billion a year. $14 billion a year is still real money.
Being reduced at a rate of about $500 million per year.
It's not being reduced by $500 million a year. It's been about $14 billion for a long time.
It has been cut for the last 3 years.
NASA's
very
budget
small
in
amounts.
1992 was $15.8 billion. It's projected in the year 2000 to be under $11 billion. That's real money, real cut.
Yeah, and that comes, the future cuts come at a time when every part of the federal government is being cut. We have to make these cuts.
Let me ask a couple of things. Would any NASA has 2 missions, 2 robotic missions to Mars scheduled for the end of this year. Would any findings prompt you to change your view on this?
This is going to take a long time. I think all of the scientists have said, look, this is going to take a long time to get more facts and so on. We have no objection to some cheap robotic missions. What we oppose is increasing overall spending. If you want to spend more money on Mars, you have to spend less money on something else.
That sounds like bye-bye space station.
No space station. And do you know about this Russian monkey program?
Yeah, we do, but we're not going to be able to get into that right now. And no, we're not going to test it on humans in the first place. Ralph DeGennaro, thanks so very much. And Louis Friedman out in Seattle, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.